What's going on, guys? It's the In the Pocket podcast. I'm Logan Martin, joined by Max Sturm, Xander Cook. These guys are joining me for week 11. This is the pick video. We do this and release it every Friday. We go through every game in the slate. We pick the spread, we pick the winner, and then we tally it up and we keep track of our record throughout the season. Before we get into our records right now, overall, I want to thank you guys for all tuning in. We really appreciate the support. Everyone that watches, everyone that comments, everyone that likes our videos, subscribers, thank you. We appreciate you. We understand that, going to zero to anything, takes a lot of work and we put in a lot of work, but it's not possible without you guys showing love and support. So we appreciate that. So records after week 10, going into week 11. Straight up, picking winners. I'm first, 81, 37, and 1. All right, I'm pretty proud of that. I ain't got much more to say. Max, you're second, 73, 45, and 1. Pretty solid. So you're 8 games behind. And then Xander, you're 65, 51, and 1. You're still over
Oh,
500.
67 or yeah,
Six,
67.
yeah. No, 69, 40. You're 69, 49, and 1. You're 69, 49, and 1. I forgot to switch that on the thing. But Xander
Nice.
is in third place, 69, 49, and 1. So pretty solid. Everyone above 500. We should be, though. Definitely should be.
I
But
hate my record, dude.
but to be a good amount above 500 feels good. It's not
Yeah.
it's not that easy picking winners. A lot of weeks, a lot of spreads are within 5 points. So, not everything's guaranteed, especially in the NFL. You got grown men playing football. So, and then against the spread, Max, you're first. Only one at 500 or above. You're 52 and 51, doing a great job.
Hell yeah,
Um,
dude.
we didn't
Damn, that's
start
impressive.
we didn't start doing the spreads from week 1. We picked this up. I think it was week 3. But yeah, so yeah, you're 52 and 51. I'm second. I'm 48 and 55. Xander, you're third, 47 and 56.
What the fuck?
Because
You just
because
shot.
I switched. So when I tallied it, remember I switched.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah,
flipped.
yeah.
Yeah, so I flipped it. So like,
Yeah.
that second spot right now is up for grabs. Max does have a 3-game lead, but picking winners, I have a
All
pretty
right,
heavy
boys.
lead.
I'm gonna lock the fuck in at some point.
This is your week.
This
Yeah,
is my,
so
this is my week.
let's roll it back to just money line right now. Being a bit above 500, I think we all expected that we would be. But take a look at how this NFL season has been so far. Extremely weird season, especially with who the front runners are, who your like actual top teams are in terms of record right now, and the teams that are usually up there, some of them are underperforming. And so that means that some of us have been picking the underdogs in the right scenarios in order to keep a good record. So
Right.
impressive from all three of us.
Hmm.
Right. No, yeah, it's definitely been a weird season in the NFL. And like you said, anything's possible. That's pretty much what we've seen through the weeks of doing this. So getting right into it, Patriots versus Jets. None of us has watched the game. We've been getting ready, just getting set up for the podcast, focused on that. So priority hasn't been turned on the game. We're eventually gonna. Yeah, I got it pulled up now. Um, but yeah, Patriots versus Jets. Patriots came in as 13.5 point favorites. That line started at 9.5, and it worked us all the way up to 13.5. And within a day, it went up 3.5 points, which is crazy. You don't see that much.
Hmm.
But anyway, I'll kick it off. Jets are going to try to run a lot of man to man. They're seventh in the NFL on man to man frequency, 33.7%. Drake May versus man to man, 137.3 passer rating. One of the best in the league against man to man, 10.7 yards per attempt. That's ridiculous. And the Jets are 28th in zone frequency. And, Mac Jones. Drake May excels versus zone too, but it's not as much as man to man. So, if the Jets come in with this game plan, going man to man against a very deep wide receiver room, I think they're going to get torn up. I think Drake May is going to have a great game. But the Jets have played 9 games. One of those 9 games, they have 7 losses. One of those 7 losses have been more than 13 points, and that was their 37-22 loss versus the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys. All their other losses, out by how much? Versus the Steelers, 2 points. Bills, 10 points. Buccaneers, 2 points. Miami, 6 points. Denver, 2 points. Carolina, 7 points. They're keeping these games within that 13.5 point spread. And I think the NFL this season has proven that 13.5 is way too many points. And they're my Patriots, but give me the Jets to cover.
Hmm. What's your score?
Keep in
I
mind
had,
it's
I had the
seven
Pats winning
right
27-20.
now.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, Patriots have covered in all 5 games against opponents with a winning percentage of 400 or lower. They rank eighth in scoring offense and sixth in scoring defense. So they're just one of 3 teams to be ranked top 8 in both. The strongest unit of the team by far is their number one ranked defense. Sorry, my cat's scratching the freaking door. Uh, yeah, so they're number one ranked in terms of the run D, and that's horrible news for the Jets. Their strength is their run game offensively. Their passing game ranks dead last in the league, averaging they rank dead last in the league, and over the last 4 games they've averaged 105 passing yards per game. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be close. I know Logan mentioned about 13.5 points being too much, but give me the Patriots in this one, 37-16, man. I'm taking a blowout here.
Yeah, it's funny because I can see this going one of two ways, either the blowout or they keep it within 7 points. And I think with this being a divisional game, you're going to see this stay within the spread. I don't think that the Patriots will cover this game. Um, these guys go up against each other twice a year. They know the general scheme. And the Patriots are by far the better team, obviously. I think that they'll win this one still, but I don't think they'll cover. Give me a, let's see, 30-17 score. Keep it right at 13.
Hmm.
Wow. Jumping right into the next game. This one's played in Madrid. Miami playing the Washington Commanders. This is an interesting one. I don't know how many games, I didn't do the research on that, but I don't know how many games have been played in Madrid, but this will be interesting. Another overseas game. Overseas games have proven to be a little funky this season. We saw last week, the Atlanta Falcons had a potentially, the chance to beat the Colts. It was a 17-16 game, point game with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It finished 31-25. And we've also seen, the Jets and the Broncos, 13-11. So very weird games have happened overseas. But I don't think the weirdness can get to the matchup if that makes any sense. I think over the last few weeks, Miami has proven to be the much better team. And I know Miami doesn't really have a good rep this season. I know their head coach has been on the hot seat. I know Tua's been a bad quarterback. Like he has 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. That's not good. And Devon Achane's been the bright spot, and Jalen Waddle's been the bright spot. But they've looked good in the last 3 weeks. They've looked a lot better than the Commanders have looked. Don't get me wrong, the Commanders are battle tested, but this is neutral playing ground when you're going overseas. Um, just give me the better team. I think the Miami Dolphins cover this spread. I think they win 28-20 and cover the 2.5 points.
Yeah, I like that. Commanders are 0-5 straight up and against the spread in their last 5 games. Dolphins are coming off of a 30-13 win versus Buffalo, and they beat Atlanta 34-10 a couple weeks ago. And now you look at who they're playing this week. It's a very favorable matchup for Miami against a weak Washington team. There's no Lattimore, no Amos, no Armstrong. So you can expect Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle to have those great games, or a great game against Washington. And I know Max mentioned Tua not having a good season, but Tua can move the ball when given time to throw. And Washington's defense only has 4 sacks this season, and half their defense is on IR. He's going to have time to throw. Give me Dolphins 35-24.
Yeah, as Travion Henderson gets into the end zone for New England to potentially tie this game up, we look ahead to their divisional opponent that's not really in this race this year. And they're going up against a team that, you're right, is definitely worse than them, at least in the last few weeks. Both teams have had disappointing seasons. Both teams currently sit at 3-7, but one of these teams has emerged over the last couple of weeks, and that would be the Miami Dolphins. With the exception of that Ravens game, their offense has looked pretty good. Tua Tagovailoa always is going to have the interceptions. It just depends on whether he can bounce back and also throw touchdowns and find his wide open guy. And I think over the last 2 weeks, or the last couple weeks, especially versus Buffalo, he was hitting his marks where he needed to. He wasn't taking deep shots that were stupid, with the exception of the 2 interceptions, but really just taking what the defense is giving him is what Tua's strength is. And he has over those 2 wins versus Atlanta and Buffalo, where he had 4 touchdowns in that one game, and I believe maybe just one in that one versus Buffalo, but still a fair amount of yards getting them down the field. I think that Miami will win this game. And I would say, if I had to pick a score, it's not going to be a super, super high scoring. I'm gonna say 24-17.
24-17. Okay. A defensive matchup. I like it. We all have Miami. We're all back in Miami in this spot. What could go wrong with the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa?
Right.
Um, Getting right into the next game, Max, I'm going to let you kick this one off, okay? We got the Atlanta Falcons home against the Carolina Panthers. This seems to be the week of divisional matchups. Max, who you got? 3.5 point spread.
3.5 point spread. Again, it's another divisional matchup. Um, and it's in Atlanta's favor.
Yes, sir.
No, shouldn't be. This should definitely be the Panthers game, and I think that they will win it. Atlanta up and down all season. We talked about the inconsistencies of this Atlanta Falcons team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that this game's no different. You've seen where the Panthers have been able to expose some teams, and like they did against Dallas and other teams. I think that the Panthers continue to push their ground game, which is where, apart with a few really good performances, the Falcons have failed a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. And so Rico Dowdle's going to get a big chunk of yards, big chunk of carries in this game. You got Chuba Hubbard to back him up, and Bryce Young, like we talked about, considering I think this is probably still going to be a close game given it's divisional. Bryce Young, not the greatest quarterback, but he'll make the throws that are needed to get you in range for the game-winning field goal or to get you the game-winning touchdown. And so I've got the Panthers winning this one. Again, another low-scoring game. This one's going to be 17-15 Carolina.
Mm.
Wow. Max, what you got, man? I mean, Xander, what do you got?
Uh, it's tough. The Panthers and Falcons are two teams you never know which version you're going to get at all. This is a game that I would tell every single bettor, stay away from this game. Stay away from it. Do not
Yeah.
bet this game. Both offenses are scoring under 20 points per game. The Panthers just scored 7 points at home against the one-win Saints. And Atlanta, they kept up with the NFL's best scoring offense in Indianapolis. Bijan was finally able to get something going in Berlin. So I'm expecting the Falcons to get them going at home this week. And I'm riding with the home team in this matchup. But because of how bad the offenses are, I think it's close, and I have Carolina covering the spread, but I like Atlanta 20-17.
I like it. Atlanta offensively is hard to watch this year. Not to mention they have a superstar running back, and it seems like they like their running back too, Tyler Algier, just as much as they like Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, especially in the freaking red zone, bro. Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a wrecking ball, but is he who you want? Playing a certain percentage of the snaps when you got Bijan Robinson sitting on the sideline? Probably not. Um, but at the same time, he's been pretty good this year. But the lack of play action, the lack of setting the run game up with a pass, and vice versa, it's evident when you watch on Sundays, when you watch the Atlanta Falcons. And Michael Penix is off target. He doesn't seem comfortable. He doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like people are getting open. It looks like it's not enough space with the routes. It's hard to watch. The NFL average in completion percentage is 65%. Michael Penix is 58% right now on the season. Not to mention versus the Colts, he was 42.9%. Could you imagine? Atlanta probably wins that game if he's around 60% completion percentage. If you think about some of those throws that probably came in certain situations of the game, Zach Robinson cannot get this offense clicking, and I'm surprised he still has a job right now. On the road, they average 16 points per game. They're not the only team in the NFL with this issue, but it's the Atlanta Falcons. They have the guys on offense, but they really have the guys on defense. I love this defense. It's young. They can fly around. They're wicked fast. They're really good against the pass. AJ Terrell, one of the most underrated corners in the game. They fixed the edge rush problem, it seemed like, with draft picks and picking people up in free agency. It just seems like the defense is there. Not to mention they allowed 16 points to Indianapolis with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and then it all unraveled after that Jonathan Taylor long run. So
Mhm.
if they can stop Rico Dowdle, I think Atlanta can be in a good position. And I think they can at home. I think they perform a lot better at home. I think Michael Penix performs a lot better in Atlanta than he does on the road. I think that's another big key. Uh, yeah, I think this defense has unseen momentum. Think about the fourth down stops they got against Indy, a really good offense. Think about, not to mention last time they played Carolina, they got shut out. You know, so I think there's some unseen momentum people don't really know about with this Atlanta team coming in. Divisional game at home, they take care of business. Atlanta covers and wins 24-17.
You're absolutely right to talk about that defense being as good as they are. Again, I still think that their rush game could be a little bit better. We saw what Jonathan Taylor did to them, but again, that's Jonathan Taylor. We expect to see numbers like that. But he really did expose them. My argument for the Panthers as well, though, would be look at the Falcons last week. They kept that game close. They brought it to overtime, but Daniel Jones gave that offense a ton of chances to come back. And that's why
Yeah.
I think it was so close.
Can I ask you guys a question though? Um, I want to know your thoughts. So I feel like I think the Panthers are doing a great job band-aid over a bullet hole with this offense. Bryce Young is getting away with 120-yard passing game yards a game, and they're winning these games. He looks terrible out there. And if Atlanta can stop the run, do you think that's enough?
Oh, absolutely. That
Yeah,
is absolutely enough.
yeah, I think so. I think if the rush game cannot get going for the Panthers, that's how you see them lose this game. Because I don't trust Bryce Young to have to not only manage the game but to change the game. Their go-to right now is the rushing attack,
Right.
and they will stick with that until the wheels fall off. And
Not only that, look at what the Saints did. They held Dowdle to under 60 rushing yards, and Panthers scored 7 points against them. They
Yeah.
held the run game in check, and obviously, if you hold the run game in check and force Bryce to throw, he's not going to do anything with it. And
So,
that's the Saints were able to get that win.
so do you think the blueprint is laid out for the Atlanta Falcons
Oh
in this
yeah.
game?
yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
blueprint is simple. Stop the run.
Right.
hmm
Stop the run, this team becomes one-dimensional.
Yeah. So
Yep.
Max, you're back in that run game. You're standing down on it.
Yeah, I think based off what we saw last week and in prior weeks with Atlanta, I love their defense. I just don't love their rush stop right now. But this is their chance to prove me wrong.
That is the one part of that's the one weakness on this defense is the rush defense. Definitely a top 5 team against the pass. So getting right into the next game, Max, I'm going to let you kick this off. This is your Buffalo Bills, okay? They're at home against the Tampa Bay
Mm.
Buccaneers. You know, not unfamiliar. This is not obviously not a divisional matchup. You got an AFC versus an NFC opponent. 5.5 points though. Max, what do you think about that? Buffalo's favored.
I think back to the previous two matchups between the Bills and the Buccaneers. And I know the teams have changed drastically in that time, but last matchup they played the Buccaneers, and probably the most similar to what we're going to see on Sunday, was 2 years ago at home in Buffalo. I was at that game, and Sean McDermott, it seems like he had the defensive game plan for the Buccaneers laid out. He's a defensive coach, so we would, as Bills fans, want to see that. The offensive game plan was not there. We had a different coordinator at the time, and that was Ken Dorsey. But now take a look at what we've got at offensive coordinator now, what Buffalo has there in Joe Brady. He has been very spotty with his play calling. You saw what he dialed up against Kansas City. It was great. Josh Allen had almost 90% completion percentage and several touchdowns, and they ran the rock well. A good split between pass and rush. But then you saw what they did against Miami last week, where it almost seemed like they were in the first half trying to force it too much to James Cook, and then in the second half, they were not using him at all because they went down by so much. You can't do that against this Buccaneers team. Their defense isn't the best, but it's not a bad defense. You can score on them though. So it has to be methodical play calling, and you need that 50-50 split. It doesn't matter if the first two drives you go 3 and out. You need to stick with a game plan and make your offense two-dimensional. You have to have the Buccaneers guessing what you're going to be able to do in order to beat them. And the spread is 5.5 for Buffalo, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, which is a little bit insane to me. I think it should, if you're going to favor Buffalo, it should be much closer than that. Baker Mayfield's still that guy, man. Baker Mayfield, despite not having the weapons available to him right now. Do we know if Bucky Irving's playing, by the way?
It's questionable. He's been limited at practice.
Okay, so he might be coming back. And Emeka Egbuka had a nice game against the Patriots. I don't know.
Godwin might be back too.
What's that?
I think Godwin might be back too. I
Yeah.
think he's in the same situation as Bucky Irving.
The pass defense for Buffalo has played a lot better in the last few weeks. With Maxwell Harrison and Cole Bishops standing up and standing tall in that defensive backfield. I'm gonna take Buffalo with a 31-30 win
Mm,
just because I want to believe that Buffalo can
right.
bounce back. And they play up to their opponents, man. They play up to the good opponents and they play down to the bad ones.
Yeah.
So I think that they will find a way to at least be in this game, and I hope win, but they will not cover this game. It will be close.
Yeah, I think the difference is Tampa Bay is fighting to get back healthy, and I think Buffalo's fighting for a playoff spot right now. So Buffalo's in a little bit of a desperation mode.
Yeah, I think both teams right now are looking to get back on track. That's the biggest thing. They're both coming in with a mindset of we've lost in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers case 2 games in a row that we've actually played. We had the bye
Right.
week. And Buffalo's coming off of maybe the worst loss in the Josh Allen era. So
Right.
there's a lot to fight for.
Yeah, 100%. Xander, what do you think, man?
Yeah, my player to watch in this matchup is James Cook. He's the second best running back in the league and lit up the Panthers and Chiefs defense on the ground. He was quiet against Miami, but now he's facing a Tampa defense that just gave up 147 rushing yards to Travion Henderson. And I noticed while watching that game, you cannot run inside against this Tampa defense solely because Vita Vea is stopping that middle of your offense. He's an anchor for that defensive line. You run up the middle, you're screwed. He's going to stop it. He's going to wreak havoc. But as soon as Trayvon Henderson and the Patriots offense were running outside runs, they blew the defense up. So I'm expecting that. We mentioned blueprint for that Carolina team. This is a blueprint against the Tampa defense. Run on the outside. Bills are 4-1 at home this season, with their only loss being to the Patriots. And opposite side, Buccaneers are 4-1 on the road, with their only loss being to Detroit. So I'm expecting a great matchup, and this honestly could ultimately be game of the week. Baker is going to look to pick apart a depleted Bills defense, and Josh Allen and company are looking to bounce back from a performance they're going to want to forget. But like the Carolina Falcons matchup, I'm also riding with the home team in this match. I'm going Buffalo 31-27.
Okay, so you got Buffalo winning, you got Tampa Bay covering. Yeah, like I said, Buffalo's fighting for a playoff spot right now. I think the AFC East isn't on lock, but it's definitely trending in that direction, and that's definitely concerning if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, because not only you're worried about this year, but now you got a future foe that can really compete with you for the next for years with a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back like that, and a defense that just has new fresh contracts. So it will be interesting the AFC East for years to come, but Buffalo needs to get in the playoffs right now, and that's what they're worried about. If Vita Vea doesn't play in this game, that's a big concern because I feel like James Cook can have a day if Vita Vea is not in that game. We've seen Vita Vea play a lot this season. If he's not in this game, I can see that being a huge effect on the run and the pass, because not only does Vita Vea affect the run game, but he affects double teams. He affects an extra man to block him. He's that big. He's that good. But I think that being at home, this is one of those situations where being at home is enough for the Buffalo Bills to get the win in this situation. But I don't see it being easy. Yeah, yes, the Bills had defensive problems, but they have offensive problems too. I'm just going with Josh Allen, the still one of the best, if not the best player in the NFL. Just to put his team on his back. This is still a really good 1 p.m. game. I just don't think the line should be 5.5 points, man. This is a 1.5, 2.5 point game. So that being said, I'm going to give Buffalo a win, but I don't think they cover 29-24.
Yeah, I think that we've all got this game close for a reason. And it's concern with both sides or
Right.
both teams' defenses.
And
If Buffalo decides to run the rock with James Cook, and let's say Vita Vea is playing, yeah, he will stuff up that middle, but James Cook is one of the best running backs running to the outside and finding space where it doesn't exist.
Right.
So that is a huge concern for them. But on the opposite side of things, if Bucky Irving plays, that's a big concern for Buffalo because their run defense is not great at all. They will get TJ Sanders back this week, and Larry Ogunjobi is playing as well. So they have a little bit of depth inside that defensive line to try and stop the rush game and force Baker to pass, which I think honestly is what Buffalo needs, is for Baker to be in a situation where he's got to pass the ball more. But it's going to be an extremely tight game, and I don't think either fan base should be comfortable that their team's going to win.
Todd Bowles loves to roll the dice too on defense. He loves to send the blitz, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for Josh Allen just to expose that.
Mm-hmm.
Expose that. You know what you're taught when as a quarterback? You know where you throw when the blitz is coming. So let's say you got a corner blitz from the slot corner. Okay, he's blitzing, going to attack the quarterback after the snap of the ball. You throw it right in the flash to James Cook if he's running a dump off right there. You throw it to that tight end who runs a hitch route 2 or 3 yards and sits because you throw to the spot where the man blitzes from. You throw and replace right there. And Josh Allen's going to do that all day long. If Todd Bowles sticks with the blitz, I think it's going to backfire if you're Tampa Bay, and it's going to bite him in the butt in crunch time. I can see
Not to
Josh Allen
mention,
tackling.
Allen is statistically one of the best, maybe not this season, but over his last 5 years, one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. So that honestly might be an advantage for him.
Yeah. Right. And let me add something too. Bills average 2.9 points a drive at home. That's fourth compared to on the road, 2.2 yards per drive. Tampa Bay hasn't led much this year. They've led 33% of their offensive snaps. That's 21st in the league. That's pretty low for a team that has a pretty solid record. All five of Josh Allen's interceptions are without Dalton Kincaid on the field, and he might not be in this game on Sunday.
He
That
won't
could be
be.
huge for the Buffalo Bills. And to me, Dalton Kincaid is their best offensive weapon in the pass game, in my opinion. Allen and the Bills are struggling in the red zone. You're talking about 3 interceptions and a fumble. And without Dalton Kincaid, that's huge if you're Buffalo. So it's really a hard game to pick because if Tampa Bay's at home, I think Tampa Bay, you consider them winning this game. But I'm gonna go with Buffalo. Bills Mafia stand up. They back their Buffalo Bills in this situation. They get the win, but they won't cover this game. Titans versus the Texans, man. Gross game. The total's like 39.5. In my opinion, a defensive game. I think both offenses are going to struggle, but obviously the Texans are going to be a little bit better than the Titans are going to get it done. Houston's banged up. One thing I like though in the past game, rookie receiver Jane Higgins caught his third receiving touchdown last week. And if you're the Texans, we've talked about this for weeks. They need offensive weapons. They have no running game, and you can't just rely on Nico Collins to be the key to your pass game. It's not going to work. You need other people to step up with no Tank Dell. Dalton Schultz has stepped up, and if you add Jane Higgins, a rookie receiver who's young, if you add a dynamic receiver to this offense, you're going to be all right. You can win and cover these games, even with Davis Mills. He came in, he looked all right. Give me the Texans to cover this game. They cover the 6.5 points on the road. They win 23-7. I bet the under though, if anything.
Yeah, I like that. Texans looked amazing offensively in that fourth quarter against the Jaguars, albeit Jaguars have a pretty bad pass defense. And now you're on the road in Nashville where the Titans are middle in the pack or middle of the pack in the pass defense category. And one thing I'd like to mention is that it's hard to choose Houston covering by more than a touchdown in most games. But this isn't most games. Titans are 0-4 at home. Houston shut them out 26-0 back in week 4. And the Titans offense just hasn't found any rhythm all year. And now they have to play the NFL's best scoring defense. Yeah, give me Houston 30-10.
Yeah, Xander, that is my exact score, 30-10. And
That's funny.
I don't really have much more to say about this game other than one team is significantly better than the other. And it doesn't matter if CJ Stroud plays or he doesn't. It looks like he's on pace to play right now. It doesn't really matter though. As long as they take what's given to them, they are going to march down this field and score when they need to. And then their defense is going to cause turnover or cause Cam Ward to turn the ball over. It's not going to be close. 30-10 score. Easiest pick of the week.
Wow,
Yep.
easiest pick of the week is bold with Davis Mills
It
out there
is.
at quarterback. But I mean, I see it though. It is an easy pick. The Titans can't cover. and their offense isn't going to move the ball. This Texans defense is the best defense in the league. And if you look at the game where they like gave up 30 points to or 29 points to who? The Jaguars, that wasn't because of the defense. Those all those points were because of the defense. So this Texans defense is elite. Best defense in the league. I still stand by that. And it's a defense I backed for weeks now. I'm not just saying this now. You know I've been saying this for weeks now. They're gonna prove it again. I don't see Cam Ward's gonna have trouble. That front is gonna be moving. All right. Vikings at home versus Chicago. Another divisional matchup, another great game. We are really going to be blessed this Sunday. Vikings favored by 3.5 points. It's moving from that 2.5, 3.5 point line. So let me double check real quick. Whatever it's at right now, we're gonna go with because I feel like that 3.5, 2.5 is key. Okay, the Minnesota Vikings are favored by 2.5 points. Okay, so we're gonna go with that. Vikings favored by 2.5 at home. Max, who do you got?
I've got Chicago, man. Chicago, I think, takes this game. They've been the better of two offenses so far, and we've seen JJ McCarthy shine in moments when he's played. I just don't think that they're going to be able to keep up with Caleb Williams, who has really been shining a lot more as of recent. Um, I just think that Chicago's the better team in this case, where we've seen so much inconsistency around the Vikings throughout the season in their defense. Their offense it has potential with obviously Jay Jettas and also Jordan Addison. I just think that the Chicago Bears are a better team right now. And so give me them to win 20-16.
What you got, Xander?
You know, history says take the Vikings. They've won 9 of their last 10 matchups against Chicago, but this year feels different if you compare the years they're having. The Vikings took the first matchup in week one, 24-20. But since then, the Bears are now have a 6-3 record, and Minnesota's at 4-5. But if you look back to last week, the Vikings held Lamar to 176 passing yards and 1 touchdown last week. And yeah, like Max said, Caleb Williams has been special this season, and I've always loved Caleb Williams. I'm a big USC fan, and I had hope for him in his rookie season last season, and I have hope for him this season. But I don't know if Chicago can win the game if this Minnesota defense limits him to the kind of performance Lamar had. And for that reason, I'm on history's side. I'm taking the Vikings 24-20.
Yeah, like took the words right out of my mouth. Vikings won 9 last game against Chicago. Both teams haven't been 100%, and why I say that, the Vikings are unexpectedly 1-3 at home this season. The Bears two straight fourth quarter comebacks. They've had to like pull something out of their buttocks in the fourth quarter just to win a game. They had to do against the Giants and the Bengals. This isn't the Giants or the Bengals, man. This is the Minnesota Vikings, a solid defense. Yes, it's had its ups. Yes, it's has had its downs, but it's still Brian Flores, and they still have the guys on defense to win divisional games like this at home. The Bears defense is bad, guys. The Bears defense is horrible. It is so bad. On the road, they're allowing almost 35 points a game. That's horrible. It's horrible. Now it's a divisional game. I'll give you one thing though. Ben Johnson, when he was with the Lions, same division, he carved up the Vikings. I think he got a little used to that. Now he's the head coach of the Bears. Can he do it offensively? Yeah, probably. But can the defense step up? No, this isn't Dan Campbell leading the group of men. This is Ben Johnson. Um, man, I just feel like Jay Jettis is going to have a 150-yard receiving game, and he's just going to carve up the secondary. This has the potential of being a shootout. I'm tempted to take the better QB, and that's why I feel like the line is so important if it's 3.5 or 2.5. But I think the Vikings can get it done if JJ McCarthy is playing in this game. I think the pass game is going to be dialed in. Kevin O'Connell's going to have a game plan, and McCarthy, if he plays, could throw for 300 yards in this game. So give me the Minnesota Vikings to cover 2.5 points. They win 26-23, close one. That's why I think the 3.5, 2.5 is so important. But next game, I'll lead it off: Giants versus the Packers. Jameis Winston's getting the start for the Giants here at Lambeau Field. Cheeseheads are going to be up. You know, they just play the Eagles in a tight matchup. All this talk is about the defense and Micah Parsons not being good against the run. Um, Colin Coward coming out and saying a bunch of BS, in my opinion, about Micah Parsons. Like, come on, man, watch the tape. They just held the Philadelphia Eagles to 10 points. I know they lost the game, but they did their part. What do you expect them to do? Give up 3? No. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, this is still the NFL. If it's the Jets, I wouldn't expect them to come out holding the 3. That's crazy. So for them to be taking so much heat, the defense right now, it's not warranted. What should be talked about is how horrible this offense is. Josh Jacobs is not the same as last year. The receiving threats not the same as last year. It's a deep receiving room, but they've been battling injuries. They need Jane Reed back, and they need uh, Golden back. They need him back because Jordan Love is terrible, man, and he has the guys around him. They have the offense. It's clear Matt Ford doesn't want to open up the pass game right now because Jordan Love can't be trusted for some. I don't know. It's horrible. I can't watch Jordan Love right now. It's bad. It just. I said he was on the hot seat in August. I said it. I said he, out of anyone in the NFL, he signed a 4-year, $220 million contract. So obviously they got their hands tied with Jordan Love. But I think this and Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love and Trevor Lawrence, are a prime example and will make teams rethink before they pay quarterbacks $55 million a year. You have to rethink that. Because think about the top 5, top 10 players in the NFL. Look at how much they're getting paid compared to Trevor Lawrence and compared to Jordan Love. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Jalen Carter is much better player than either of them. I bet he doesn't make nearly as much as they do if you looked up their contract. So organizations need to rethink before they pay these quarterbacks top dollar for them just to come out there and protect the football and shit the bed and not step up when their name needs to, and when their name's called and the lights are bright. Why pay someone that much money if they can't do shit in the playoffs? So that's how I feel about it. Anyway, Packers win and cover. They win 21-13, cover the 7.5 points.
So I think this is a get right game for the Packers. You have 2 games in a row that your offense, quite frankly, looks like shit. Jordan Love looks like shit. And so you've got to come back against a team that you already expect to win against. And in this case, it's the Giants. And again, it's a Jameis Winston game, so who knows what's going to happen. He could go off for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, and they still win the game. But the Giants have the 29th ranked defense in the league. They're allowing just about 390 yards per game, almost 400 yards per game, and just about 28 points per game. And then you take a look over at the Packers offense, which obviously the numbers are a little bit worse the last few weeks, but 360 yards of offense per game and around 26 points per game. This is a game where they get back, man. They're gonna expose this Giants defense. Jackson Dart not playing, I think, is a huge problem for this Giants team. I know it's Jameis Winston, but he hasn't started a game in how long? I think that this should be an easy win for the Packers to get back into the win column. And I see them scoring 36 points in this game, 36-20.
Yeah, I'm opposite of you guys for all this. Packers are coming off of 2 garbage performances offensively. 13 points against Carolina, 7 points against Philadelphia. Now they're heading into New York to face the Giants, who still have Kayvon Thibodeau, they still have Brian Burns, they still have Abdul Carter, and they still have Sexy Dexy. These are guys that can get to the quarterback. I fucking hate the spread at -7.5 for Green Bay. I don't like the spread. This is a Giants team that keeps games close, whether it's with Dart, with Russ, and probably even Winston. I still like Green Bay in this matchup solely because the Giants have one of the NFL's worst run defenses, and Josh Jacobs will be that bell cow in this matchup. So I'm taking Packers 17-13 with the Giants covering.
Okay, I like that. And I want to add some food for thought. Maybe you guys can add to it. Yes, the Giants have kept games close, and I agree with that. And that's why I was tempted to keep it closer. But how deflating is it in the locker room to see your head coach gone after he was allowed to go out and get his guy, his 2 guys, Scattaboo and Jackson Dart. And they've been releasing footage of the GM and Brian Dable during draft day, who they want in the draft. And based on who wanted who, you could tell Brian Dable definitely had more of a knack of picking a prospect. He wanted Jackson Dart. He wanted to go out and get him. He wanted Malik Neighbors. Um, so I think that's a little deflating. How what do you guys think? Is that enough to affect the way this game's played?
I don't think so. I don't think so. When you blow not one, not two, not three, but four away games when you're up 10 or more points, that's on the head coach. And I think the team realizes that. Yeah, he really wanted Dart. Yeah, he really wanted Scatterbo. Yeah, he really wanted Neighbors. But guess what? All three of those guys are not playing in this matchup. The rest of the team doesn't give a shit whether he wanted those three guys. They just want to go out there and fucking win. And they weren't winning with Brian Dable, so something had to change, and he was one of the main causes for it.
Yeah, I don't got anything more to say. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
So next game, okay, Xander, I'm gonna let you kick this off. Your Pittsburgh Steelers home against Cincinnati. None of us can get the Steelers right now.
No,
None of
but
us.
here's the thing. Last time these two teams played,
Max can actually.
I was right in the prediction for the last time the Bengals and Steelers played. I said this was a classic trap game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they ended up losing. The last time these two teams played, it came down to the wire. Jamar Chase went off for 16 fucking catches. Flacco had an amazing game. Stupid. He's over 40 years old. He should be a cripple by now, but no, he goes out and has the best game of his freaking season against us a week into playing for the freaking Bengals. I'm expecting another high scoring performance. This Bengals offense has scored 33, 38, and 42 points in their last three games. But guess what? They've only won one of those. The Steelers had their worst offensive showing of the season against the Chargers. Rodgers had by far the worst performance in his career. That's not going to happen again. And now he's playing a terrible Bengals defense, and it's at home. I like the Steelers bouncing back in this matchup, 37 to 33.
Wow. So you do have the Bengals covering?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What you got, Max?
I was talking to a friend about this game. She was trying to get some insight on who she should start for running back between Chase Brown and Jalen Warren. And well, yeah, I was getting there. You start Warren, man. The Bengals defense cannot stop Rocky, the Patrick's snail in the snail race. They could not stop Rocky, man. They can't stop a thing defensively. It doesn't matter who they're going up against. So yeah, I told her, you start Jalen Warren, dude. You start Jalen Warren every time.
Rocky.
They might even hand the ball off. Cincinnati might not even hand the ball off to Chase Brown.
It's gonna be just like that snail race too, where 1 second Rocky's behind, and the next moment Rocky's at the finish line. Rocky's in the end zone. There's no debate here, man. The run game alone could kill this Bengals defense, but Rodgers is gonna have a get back game. They've got solid weapons at wide receiver. Obviously, DK is your big one, but Calvin Austin can get in there. Roman Wilson can make things happen, but really it's those tight ends with Freiermuth and sorry, Xander, I'm blanking on the other tight end's name.
Ronald Smith and Darnell Washington.
Yeah, Darnell Washington. I think that you've got an offense that's capable of really doing a very good job scoring against this defense. Now, the Bengals will score some points of their own. They will. But I think I have a lot more trust in the Steelers defense to stop the Bengals than I do in the Bengals defense to stop the Steelers. And so for that reason, give me the Steelers to win this one. I think it's another high scoring matchup, and I think the Steelers will win 37-30.
Now hear me out. Going back to that Warren versus Brown pick, the last time these two teams played, Chase Brown went off. He had over 120 rushing yards.
I think that was also before the Pittsburgh Steelers got pretty healthy on defense.
Yeah, but we still actually I don't want to say we suck against the run. We're 15th against the run this season.
I was gonna say, like, it's very up and down. Like,
Sneaky.
if they're on, they're on. If they're not, you give up a bunch of yards. But now you've played this team once this year, and you develop a game plan to stop the run. That's the way I see it.
Wow, Justin Fields just had a wide open comeback route and just, oh my goodness, or wheel route.
The game plan should be double Jamar Chase every fucking snap. He torches you for 16 catches, over 100 yards, and he has a touchdown in that last matchup. by catch number 8, catch number 9, I'm thinking to myself, dude, why aren't we double covering this guy? He has 8, 9 catches, and we're halfway through the second quarter. So
Yeah,
I
because
think,
there's a Y on the other side of the field that they're also worried about.
hmm.
Yeah. I think Aaron Rodgers went on a darkness retreat. I think that's what happened. And
He's
I
taking
think he's
Percocets again.
I think he's pissed off, and I think he's pissed off, man. He's looked horrible. The offense has looked pretty bad. Cincinnati has no defense. You guys have mentioned it. No need to harp on it. But without Shamar Stewart, I can't see him getting to Rodgers. And I feel like if Rodgers is going to sit in a comfortable pocket, he's just going to pick him apart. So give me DK Metcalf over 100 receiving yards in this game too. I wouldn't be surprised if Jamar Chase gets 100 right back because this secondary for the Steelers is old and can't play man-to-man defense. It's pretty pitiful. So that's something they're going to have to figure out in the offseason. I think Joey Porter Jr. is a great uh, he's a great corner for what he's valued for. He's tall, he's lengthy, um, he can really get a hand in the pass lane. So they need to figure out that issue in the offseason, but this is this week. Let's focus on this week. Pittsburgh's going to handle business. They win 27-21. I think I want to back Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin in a revenge game in a divisional matchup, especially at home. It's going to be popping. Terrible towels are going to be out. Okay, this game. I shouldn't say another one, but this is a weird one to me. All right. Chargers coming into Jacksonville. Tale of two stories, in my opinion. One, you got the Chargers, 3 straight wins. Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and Minnesota. Lad McConkey had a huge game. It was huge. They got him back in rhythm. They faced offensive line issues. That has been the one knock for this Chargers team this season. It's really cost them some games, but it seems like in the last 3 games they kind of figure out how to play without it. Vidal's kind of picked up in the running game ever since Amari and Hampton went out. I really trust this Chargers team in this situation. And then the opposite side, Jacksonville looks absolutely horrible. They beat the Raiders by 1. Trevor Lawrence throws the game away on almost every situation when they have a lead. Not to mention Brian Thomas Jr. isn't the same. Travis Hunter season-ending surgery from a practice injury, which is super unfortunate. So, one team's going in the opposite direction, one team's going in the right direction. So, give me the Chargers to come in and handle business. They win 30-20. I think the spread is too low.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the -3 spread is bullshit. Herbert is on a great run this season. He's second in passing yards and amongst the top in passing touchdowns. Jaguars allow the 5th most passing yards per game. They just had Davis Mills and Geno Smith find success against them. Davis Mills 8 yards shy of 300. Geno Smith 16 yards shy of 300. Chargers have outscored their opponents 89-40 in the last 3 games, and the Jaguars have dropped 3 of their last 4, with their only win being against the Raiders in overtime. Give me Chargers in this one, 27-20.
Yep, I've also got the Chargers. I have them winning 27-17. And I think the one thing that could change this game for Jacksonville is you look at the pressure rate for Justin Herbert. 18 quarterback pressures per game. He is pressured on average 18 times per game. Jacksonville is top 12 in applying pressure to the quarterback right now. So that's what you got to game plan around if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, you did just let Davis Mills throw all over you and have a great game and look like a QB1 in the league right now. A team that was 4-1 is now 5-4. And ever since that Chiefs game, it has been downhill sledding for them. They have not been able to get anything going offensively. And Logan, you're right. Trevor Lawrence throws the game away more often than not when he's put in those situations. I have never been a Trevor Lawrence believer, and I'm still not. And I don't think he will ever amount to anything playoff caliber or championship caliber. So unless the Chargers are just absolutely ran over on the offensive line and Herbert sacked like 10 times in this game, I've got the Chargers winning this one 27-17.
See, I can agree with the Trevor Lawrence hate, but I'm not out on him. I'm not at all out on him. I mean, since 2023, he's still got above average EPA and success rate. Long term, I still like him over a few other AFC quarterbacks like Cam Ward, probably Bo Nix, definitely Tua.
He's
Yeah.
playing in one of the worst divisions in football right now, too. I think that when he faced 6 opponents per year that also aren't very good, with the exception of the Texans this year, defensively, not the most sound, his stats are going to be a little bit skewed.
Hmm.
Couple games I want to breeze through right before we get into the good ones. Okay, 49ers in Arizona. Another divisional matchup. Purdy's potential return
They
set
just
for
made
this
him
game.
active.
Yep, made him active. Okay, so he's going to be returning this game. Good, because Mac Jones, both his knees are on life support right now. That man, both his knees have been on life support since I was in Disney, and they played the Rams on prime time. That's how long he's been pretty banged up. But let's give him credit, man. He stepped in. He's done great. We talked about it. The 49ers injuries and struggles have been masked by Mac Jones and coaching. Robert Saleh, Kyle Shanahan, and Mac Jones. Okay, so now with Purdy returning, I think this is a jolt for the offense. They understand that their quarterback is now healthy. Maybe they can get George Kittle more involved. Maybe Pearsall can come back, get involved. I think the offense is going to be clicking. I think Arizona last week was very disappointing. Not to mention both teams were in the same situation. 49ers getting blown out and the Cardinals getting blown out, both in divisional games. So both teams are in the same situation. So give me better coaching. It's a 2.5 point spread. I'd take the better team and the better coaching 2.5 points all day. So give me the 49ers to win this game 28-24.
Yeah, the 49ers are a painfully average team, and you can blame that on injuries. They rank 15th in both net yards per play and DVOA. Defensively, they fall into 26th in opponent EPA per play and 30th in success rate. Only the Cowboys and Bengals defense ranks worse in success rate. You know, they're probably going to hit their stride when they get healthier in the season, but right now it's looking pretty dark for San Francisco. And I like Arizona in this one, 24-20.
Yeah, I'll make it real quick, but I'll start with this. I posted a video on my socials today talking about the quarterback situation in San Francisco right now.
Shout yourself out real quick.
Yeah, go over to Max Durbin Comms on Instagram. I post stuff about the NFL, but also things to do with local sports here in Maine, doing my job. But outside of that, I talked a little bit about the current situation that they're in, and that Mac Jones is 5-3 as a starter right now, has gone 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and honestly has not been playing bad at all. And even in that game versus the Rams, he was over 200 yards, I think just slightly shy of 300, and threw for 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. So it wasn't like he was the whole reason that that team lost. And I said, when Brock Purdy comes back, there should be a serious conversation about who starts. And in my opinion, when you've got a record of 6-4 and you're really honestly a game and a half behind the division right now, when things are working, you're winning games. I think that you keep the blueprint the same for your team. And I thought that that wasn't like an egregious take. And then I've been seeing the comments on my video on TikTok, and a lot of people disagree with me. And I'm going to stick by my word that I think Mac Jones should still be starting. Let me just put it this way. Tom Brady agrees with me. I'll
Well,
just say that. Tom
can,
Brady.
can I can I give you my side?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like so if the 49ers didn't have the record they have right now, what are they, 6-3?
Six
Six
and
and
four.
four.
6-4. They're 6-4 right now. If the 49ers are 3-7 or 4-6, I think Mac Jones probably starts, and you probably sit Brock Purdy the rest of the year and understand the season's done. Get a quarterback healthy and ready for next year. But kind of like a situation. Who's a quarterback coming up? Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's in the same situation. The Bengals don't have a good record, and there's hope that Joe Burrow comes back, but he'd only come back if they do good and have a hope to get in the playoffs. If they have no hope to get in the playoffs, why rush him back from a gnarly turf toe injury? Why do that? Why do that? Just have him sit the rest of the season, get healthy.
Yeah, well, I don't think we should compare Joe Burrow and Brock Purdy. I
But
don't.
the situation's the same. You're
It
getting paid the same amount of money
it
to come
is,
in and
but
play
Purdy's played
quarterback.
in 2 games this year and has been average. He's thrown maybe even worse than that. He's thrown 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in both games. He's coming back. We're not entirely sure if he's 100% yet, and you're a game and a half behind in the division. Do you really want to risk a season where you're still well on pace to make the playoffs to bring a guy back who one wasn't playing well in the games he already played in, and
Yeah.
two now has to reacclimate himself within the team, within the playbook, and within the scheme.
Yes, I agree, but I feel like they already played Mac Jones to the point where like we need him. They told him we need you to play until we know he's 100%. I don't care if Mac you're going out 55 to 75%. We need you to go back there out there because Brock Purdy is getting paid $55 million. He's been out this long and he's only 85% right now. We need him to be 100 before we force him back out there and trust him to be healthy. I feel like that was kind of the situation. Moving on,
Hold
okay?
on,
Oh
Xander, you got
wait,
any
you
thoughts
get.
on
Oh,
this?
my fault. Sorry. Yeah, who do
Yeah,
you?
I never even made a score prediction. I'll do that real quick.
Oh,
49,
Xander said 24-20 Cardinals.
yeah,
Yes.
49ers win this game 30-7. Xander,
Wow.
yeah, I don't think it's
I
close.
mean, I've heard some pros that kind of have the same stance that they think the 49ers come in and just whoop ass.
Yeah, I think they do. Xander, do you have any thoughts on the current quarterback
Yeah,
situation? Where do you stand on that?
Yeah,
tiebreaker.
I'm right with you guys. I think ride the hot hand. Mac Jones has garnered you to a 5-3 record. You were 1-1 with Purdy, and I don't think it's the same situation as Burrow at all. They're record wise, definitely not. 49ers 6-4, Bengals 3-6.
Well, that's yeah,
Here,
that was my point, I
here's
guess.
the thing. Here's the thing, though. Bengals are 2 games behind in their division. 49ers are a game and a half behind. So they're still relatively close in terms of division. The thing is, the Bengals defense, it's just so fucking atrocious where you're not going to win those shootout games because your defense is that bad. So I don't agree with rushing Burrow because I don't think he's going to be a saving grace for this Cincy team. You still have Joe Flacco balling out. He just threw over 400 yards against that Chicago team, and they still lost 47-42. There's no hope at all. I think and not only that, the Ravens. We'll talk about them. So actually, I'm gonna save that Ravens take for when we talk about them.
I mean, maybe a late backdoor cover, maybe a late pull away. I don't know. Anyway, Baltimore in Cleveland. Okay, Cleveland, the dog pound's proven to be hell for some teams. Will it be hell for Lamar Jackson, who's still battling a hamstring injury in this Raven team that is still desperate? They need to get this win. Xander, what do you think, man?
What's the
So
line?
since week 8, the Ravens are now 10th in EPA, ninth in success rate, sixth in opponent EPA, and ninth in opponent success rate. Lamar is back from that hamstring injury, and to me, he hasn't lost a step. He leads the league in passer rating this season, albeit he's only played 6 games, but he still leads the league in passer rating by a wide margin. The Ravens defense has also stepped up big time after a disastrous start to the year. In their last 4 games, they've given up 17 points, 16 points, 6 points, and 19 points. Meanwhile, the Browns' offense is arguably the worst in the league. The Browns are averaging the fewest yards per play at 4.1, and they also rank 30th in EPA per play and last in the league in success rate. Ravens win comfortably 30-17.
Yep. I think the Ravens blow out the Browns, but I don't think it's any fault to their defense. We saw the Vikings hold Lamar Jackson to however many yards last week, and there's potential that the defense could help out, but the offense just can't keep the defense off the field for the Cleveland Browns. And so I think that the Lamar eventually I think he scores 4 touchdowns. I think he throws for 4 touchdowns in this game at least. And maybe a hot take even giving them this many points, but I think the Ravens win 45-17.
Not a hot take. Look at
No, not a hot take, man. I'm gonna follow you guys up. What do you guys both have Baltimore covering?
Yes.
Yeah, Baltimore's going to cover the 7.5 point spread. Dylan Gabriel isn't even a top 35 quarterback in the NFL, and he's proven that. I don't know what the hell the Browns are doing, still starting him. They must know their ass, and that's the reason they're not playing Shador.
Well,
He hasn't
when
doodled.
when do you start? When do you throw in Shador Sanders just to see what you have? Because listen, I'm not a huge Shador fan. I think that
He's
he's
better
got.
than Dylan Gabriel.
Yes, I'm not talking about game. I think that he's got an attitude problem and thinks more of himself than the position he's in right now, which, internally is okay, but making that public, not a good look. Um, but man, if you're the Cleveland Browns, why are you not throwing him in? You draft a quarterback, two quarterbacks. One of them has been playing like complete dog shit, and the other one is sitting on the bench and having other players from other teams, notably Jalen Ramsey, pointing at him on the sideline saying, "You guys need to give this guy a chance." It like I think it's to the other point. It's to the point where other teams are recognizing that they are just dog shit on offense and they're not changing anything. It's classic Cleveland Browns to not throw in a quarterback that I think honestly would be better. Shador should not have fallen to the 5th round. I think we can all agree on that. Probably should not have fallen to the 5th round of this draft. Um, he needs to get a start, man. He really does. But the Cleveland Browns are afraid of having another QB on their graveyard.
Yeah, so I have a hot take on this. And maybe it's not a hot take for some people, but I think you throw Shador in, you're gonna get more of the same. You might improve slightly, but it's still gonna be relatively more of the same. Dylan Gabriel, like Logan mentioned, he's not even a top 35 quarterback in the league, but look at the system he's in. Look at the team he's surrounded with offensively. No quarterback is going to thrive in that situation at all. Deshaun Watson didn't thrive. You have Dylan Gabriel right now. He's not thriving. Joe Flacco was on that team. He didn't thrive. Now look at him with Cincy. He is thriving. I don't care who the quarterback is. Throw them in. It's going to be more of the same. That Browns team is just horrible, man.
I
And then
just want
going to that Ravens to the Ravens, what I was gonna say when we were mentioning Cincinnati, this team has won 3 straight games, and I already mentioned success rate and EPA and all that. They're now 4-5, Steelers 5-4 in that division. Ravens have one of the easiest schedules coming up, and or for the rest of the season actually. And that's why I don't think you play Burrow. The Ravens are going to win that division. I can confidently say that as a Steelers fan. The Ravens are winning that division. They're getting 10, 11 wins. I don't think Cincy even crosses 8 wins.
That's a hot take. I think that's what the trend is in the AFC North. The Ravens are going in one direction. The Steelers are kind of stuck and maybe regressing a little bit. Let me move on into the game of the week, in my opinion. Even better in the late game. Seahawks in
Yeah.
Los Angeles to play the Rams. 2 7-2 teams. Another divisional matchup. Another great divisional matchup. Seattle 4-0 on the road. JSN's the best receiver in the NFL. Two great defenses, two great offenses. Seahawks and Rams are the only teams in the NFL with top 5 in scoring on offense and defense. Okay, Seattle averaging 30 points a game, Rams averaging 27 points a game. Defense, Seattle's allowing 19 points a game, Rams allowing 17 points a game. Two great teams. The big weak spot in this game to me is still the Rams defensive backs. We watched it in prime time. We watched them abuse Kyle Huge dink and dunk passes because they understand that the the DBs are undersized. Correct me if I'm wrong. Emmanuel Forbes is probably like you know $125, soaking wet. Um, so I feel like JSN's going to have a huge game, but I still think it's going to be a defensive game. I think that's what you have to expect. I feel like in games historically, especially recent, I don't know if you guys agree, when you have two great defenses compared to two great defenses and two great offenses, it's usually a defensive game. Usually a defensive game. If you have elite defenses, and I would categorize these two teams as elite defenses in the NFL. Um, Like I said, I expect a defensive game. I think 3.5 points towards the Rams is too much. That's why I'm going to pick Seattle plus 3.5. But I think I don't know who's going to win this game. It's 50-50 to me, but I'm going to give the Rams because I trust Matt Stafford more than I trust Sam Darnold. Not to mention last time the Rams saw Sam Darnold, they tore him apart in the wild card game with 9 sacks and 2 forced turnovers. So I trust Matt Stafford more than I trust Darnold. So give me the Rams 23-20, but the Seattle Seahawks covered. 3.5 is too much. It's 2.5. It's a 2.5 spread game. Either way.
Well, first off, this is like my dream game for my fantasy team. I have Matthew Stafford, Puka Nakua, JSN all on my team.
Wow.
So this is gonna be an awesome game for that. But secondly, the fact I'm surprised that you said that this is going to be a defensive game because I have it being the total opposite. I
Wow.
have this being a shootout. I have this game, and I'll just say my score. I think this is a 44-40 game.
What?
Yes.
Holy shit.
I think that these two offenses are going to go to war on Sunday in that late afternoon slot. I am so pumped for this game. If the Bills lose, this will give me something to actually look forward to for the rest of the week, the rest of the day. I need this game, man. And I really hope it is the shootout that I think it is. But I would also love to see uh a game where the defenses are stout as well. But I think everybody wants a shootout type of game. Um, Sam Darnold, the stats don't show out on paper as much as they do for Matt Stafford, but he's been dealing too. He's got, I think, 21 touchdowns and like what, 6 interceptions or something like that. Not too bad from him. And then Matthew Stafford, obviously, I think the leader in the MVP race right now with 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This is a great game offensively, man. I don't see it being defensive at all. So yeah, like I said, 44-40.
Hmm.
Wow.
I
And sorry, I didn't say a winner. Rams. Rams win the game.
Rams winning. Okay. So the Seahawks have a case to be named the NFL's best team, and the same could ultimately be said about the Rams. But to me, when you have a team that's top three in scoring and top two in scoring defense in the NFC, that's now heading into an environment that is basically a home game for Seattle, you can almost expect a win. But this is a battle of two top five teams scoring offensively and defensively. So it's going to be a 50-50 matchup. I love the Rams offense. I love the Seahawks offense and defense. The Rams defense has been really good this season, but like Logan mentioned, that the defensive backs, they're kind of a cause for concern a little bit. Um, but when you have Darnold and JSN clicking all season long, I like Seattle taking the win. I'm going Seattle here, 31-30.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't hate that take. I guess let me explain a little bit why I think it's going to be even higher scoring than that. We saw what Baker Mayfield did to this Seattle Seahawks defense. I believe that was a 44-43 game or something like that.
38-35.
38-35. Okay, yes. But that Baker Mayfield had lesser weapons than the Rams do and still put up those points, those yards, and the touchdowns. Matt Stafford is playing the way he does and also has Puka Nakua and also has Devontae Adams. And then on the other side of things, you've got JSN, who,
Best receiver in the league.
yeah, who right now, like you said, right now is the best receiver in the league. These are the two best wide receivers in the league statistically going at it right now. And so I think that they're going to throw the ball through the air all day. Obviously, the Seahawks have a pretty good run game with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet down there. But this is a game that they're going to have to unload their air arsenal.
100%. That leads us into our next game. Chiefs in Denver. Yet
Mhm.
again, another divisional matchup. Chiefs off a bye. We know Andy Reid in this Kansas City, what they're like off a bye. And the Broncos are on a win streak. How much of that win streak is phony? How much of it is fake? They're still 7-2, right? 7-2.
8-2.
8-2. They're 8-2 now. Still a great team, great defense, but the offense has been the question for the Denver Broncos. Will it be the case at home versus the Kansas City Chiefs? Kick it off, Max.
All right, I'll start with a question. Does this game make or break the Chiefs season for you guys?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The Chiefs fall to 5-5, and guys, we've seen it over and over again where the Chiefs are able to claw back into it despite not looking great. But they're a different team this year, and not in the best way. Denver Broncos have an elite defense. And do we know if Surtain's back? Because that would be huge.
Yes.
He is back. So having Pat Surtain back, that just makes Patrick Mahomes' job a whole lot harder. They don't have the best wide receiver court, but now you've taken away or at least limited very much what Rashee Rice is going to be able to do for you. And I don't see Kansas City being able to climb out of a hole if they lose this game. That being said, their offense, I think, has a better chance to outscore the other defense than the Broncos do. The Broncos behind Bo Nix have looked in games that they've won, besides the Giants game in the fourth quarter of that Giants game, they've looked average at best. And the Chiefs have shown flashes of having a high level offense. So as much as I would like Kansas City to lose this game, I don't think they do. I don't think it'll be super high scoring, but I've got it 21-19.
Yeah, the Broncos have shown that they have a top defense in the league, and there's no question in my mind that they will make Mahomes struggle at times. I'm worried about that offense. They're 28th in success rate, 19th in yards per play, and I'm a big Bo Nix guy, but I also speak the truth. I'm an honest person. He's having a worse season than Carson Wentz and Spencer Rattler. The Broncos can win sloppy, and maybe, just maybe, that's the case here. But like Logan mentioned, Andy Reid is historically great coming off of a bye week. This is a great spot for the Chiefs to be in when playing Denver, and this to me feels like a game they'll gut out a victory. It's going to be a defensive slugfest for most of it, but like Max said as well, I have more trust in the KC offense getting the job done than I do Denver. I like the Chiefs winning in a low scoring matchup as well, 23-16.
Yeah, you guys said it. It's desperate times in Kansas City. Off a bye week, I trust Andy Reid. I don't like this offense for the Broncos, and it matches up perfectly for this Kansas City defense, who has proven to be vulnerable at times. Don't really expect them to be as vulnerable against this Denver offense. But this Denver defense is still the Denver defense. Patrick Mahomes has to just take the easy throws, just take the completion, take what's there. You don't need to sit in the pocket for 7 seconds and look for the 40-yard throw downfield. Just take what's there and they'll be all right. And I think that's probably what Andy Reid was showing them all these past 2 weeks is like just turn the tape on, like, here, look, you should have just taken this 5-yard completion that could have turned to 15 yards. Instead, you're holding the ball and it turns to a sack. And that's why he lost to the Bills. Chiefs get right. Denver covers the spread though. Chiefs win 27-24. Close game. I think it'll be a great game. Comes down the wire. Maybe a game-winning field goal, one of those situations. Now we got the Lions in Philadelphia against the Eagles. I'll start it off. Everyone's talking about Dan Campbell taking over play calling duties. Yeah, it was super convenient for him to take over the duties against Washington. Washington is defeated. Their season's over. They know that. They overpaid players. Javon Kinklaw is overpaid. We haven't talked about him once this year. They went all in on year one to make Dan Quinn look good. Taking over a 4-13 team. How do we make him look good? We pay a bunch of old people in free agency top dollar so they accept our deal, sign the contract, come in and give us 1 year of production. And that's what it is in Washington. So yeah, convenient that Dan Campbell called the plays and scored 44 points on him. Not to mention I needed Sam Laporta to score a touchdown to win $450, and everyone but Sam Laporta scored a touchdown in that game against Washington. So I'm still a little frustrated over that. But the Eagles have the best D line in the NFL. No quarterback is comfortable in that pocket, man. We watched Jordan Love look uncomfortable as heck, take sacks. We obviously the fumble. That D line is moving. Not to mention everyone behind that defensive line is elite too. This Philadelphia defense is still elite, still great. And I think Jared Goff's gonna have a rough day, man. Jared Goff has a habit of getting happy feet in the pocket, and he's going to get so much. His feet are going to get so freaking happy against the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to suck, man. Eagles blow out the Detroit Lions 30-17.
Whoa, fuck no, dude.
Not a chance in hell, my
That's
man. No.
insane. All right, all right, all right. That's crazy. So it's a Sunday night game. This is must-see TV and can ultimately be a preview of the NFC Championship game. I think we can all agree to that.
Yep.
This Eagles defense put on their best performance of the season against Green Bay, with Green Bay's only score being with under 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And then you have on the opposite side, the Lions offense putting up 44 points against Washington with Dan Campbell calling the plays. To me, this is going to come down to which team can carry the momentum heading into Sunday Night Football. And to me, that's Detroit. We've seen Detroit put up monstrous performances on offense, and the defense has looked solid all season. The same can't be said for Philadelphia. The offense has had one, maybe two good games. They're just predictable, and I think Dan Quinn and the Detroit Lions will see through it. I like the
Dan
Lions.
Quinn, Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, my bad. Sorry.
Threw me in a loop right there.
I think Dan Campbell and the Lions will see through it. I like the Lions 33-24.
Yeah. I think I'm with you on that. I've got the Lions as well.
Wow.
I think the Lions, you look back to last week's game for the Eagles facing the Packers. The difference between the Lions and the Packers have zero identity on offense. They don't. They don't have identity at all. The Lions, on the other hand, really do. They've got so much to work with. Their playbook is deep. Despite Ben Johnson not being there anymore, they're still creative. And they have a 66% pre-snap motion rate that I think that they can use to their advantage to throw this Eagles team off a little bit, at least in the secondary. You're absolutely right about that defensive line. They will give Jared Goff a heck of a day. But I think that with the pre-snap motion, with the quickness of the wide receivers they have in both Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams, and some of the other guys, you've got your tight end Hawkinson that can catch the ball over the middle. They're going to get open enough and quick enough for Jared Goff to get that ball out quickly. And I think that they'll move their offense down the field the way that they have for almost every game this season and be able to score. And I think that they outscore the Eagles, who their offense looks a little bit not it just doesn't look as great as it did in years past. Saquon's not having a fantastic year. AJ Brown is very frustrated with the situation there. Devonta Smith, don't really know what his stance is. He's had a few big games, but overall they have not been a very impressive offense. So give me the Lions to win this one 35-30.
Yeah, Quinyon Mitchell might be the best cornerback in the NFL this season.
He's damn good.
He's been really good. And this game isn't in Lambeau Field when it's 30 degrees. This game isn't in Detroit. This game's in Philadelphia. And you know how Philadelphia gets in a primetime spot. I think Jalen Hurts is going to throw for 300 yards in this game. And I think you're going to see a complete 180 on the offense. We've seen it a couple times this year with the Eagles where the passing game looks non-existent and then he throws for so many yards that we just stop talking about it for a week and then it happens again and we bring it up. So I don't know what the hell's going on with the Eagles, but I do trust that the team is much better than the Lions. And I say much better, and I say that on paper. Roster-wise, they're much better. I'm going to tell you how this game's going to go. The Lions are going to get in multiple fourth and short situations, and the Eagles are going to stuff them. And it's going to be the momentum flip that the Eagles need to win this game. And that's what's going to happen. And I think it's going to bite Dan Campbell in the butt in this game. In this game. Give me
The Lions against that team, against that defensive line on fourth down are never going to run the ball.
No.
They'll never run the ball. They're going to throw it. So
they're going to put pressure on Goff. Happy feet, maybe.
They're going to have to game plan around that. So I don't know that they'll be stuffed at the line. It depends. Again, it comes down to the creativity of the play calling. We've
100%.
seen Dan Campbell make some very creative calls on fourth down. So I'm really excited for this matchup. Like you said, Logan, we are being treated this Sunday.
We are, man. Speaking of being treated, how about we talk about not being treated? I'm not even going to turn this game on. Dallas Cowboys in Las Vegas to play the Raiders, I'd rather throw up and look at my toilet than look at my TV and watch this game. Give me Dallas minus 3.5, 24-20. This is gross. Brock Bowers is going to have a game.
Mm. Yeah, the Raiders come into this matchup 30th in total yards and 31st in points scored. The offense has been dog shit, plain and simple. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. They've been horrible, and that's due to QB play and play calling. And Geno Smith is also dealing with a quad injury, so Kenny Pickett might make the start. So I am beyond confident that the Dallas Cowboys are winning this game and putting on a show offensively, possibly even defensively, as crazy as that sounds. I like the Cowboys 38-20.
Why do I feel like this game might be close?
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean,
I
I
said 24-20, so that's close, but
yeah, I just like it shouldn't be though, right?
no.
It shouldn't be. Dak Prescott should be able to do enough to uh get his guys out there and into the end zone, and Geno Smith should be terrible, like always. But I'm gonna stick with my guns that saying that this game's gonna be closer. And I like that, Logan. Did you say 24-20?
Yep.
I think I'm right there with you.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Yeah,
what's that?
before we move on, here's a question or a topic that we haven't really covered a ton of this year. When we look at post or these awards, we've talked about MVP. Obviously, I think a quarterback's probably going to end up winning it. So to me that leaves Jonathan Taylor as the offensive rookie of the year.
Player.
Yes, sorry, player of the year. What about defensive player of the year? Who do you guys
Miles,
got?
Miles Garrett. It's almost a runaway at this point. Dude, he's getting double teamed the most, and he's still getting the most pressures in the league. It's Miles Garrett. He's got 11 sacks this season to back it up. He's just a game wrecker, man.
Miles Garrett. I'll give you people that are in the mix for me. Miles Garrett, Derek Stingley, Jalen Carter, and Quinyon Mitchell is right on the bubble.
I like it.
I think I would have to agree with the Miles Garrett take.
I wonder what the odds are.
However, let me just make sure I'm getting my stats right here. 1 second. Nick Bonito?
Ooh.
Could be a sneaky good pick, but like I said, I think it's a
Third in the NFL in sacks right now with 9.5.
Hey, how about this? Brian Burns
yeah, he's up there too.
Yeah.
leads the league in sacks. That dude's all over the place. It sucks that Giants defense isn't that good because he's like Nick Medino. I think is fourth in the race for defensive player of the year. Another name, Aiden Hutchinson. He's been great. Um, yeah,
Yeah, I think the one thing that hurts Bonito as compared to Miles Garrett is he doesn't have that forced turnover yet. Um, so not that that's a huge deal,
right.
but
Looks good on the stat sheet.
it does looks good on the stat sheet. I think this is going to be a close race for that award. But anyway, Logan, go
Garrett.
ahead, take it away. Send us into Sunday.
Yeah, man. I'm sending us into Sunday. You said it perfectly. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the In the Pocket podcast. We can get this video edited, uploaded for you guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to come right back to this channel for another video on Tuesday and then picks next week. Have a great Sunday. Wish you all the best of luck. Be safe. Have fun. Peace.